All right. I'm doing a little bit of an earlier stream, but I think you're going to like this because I've been working really hard on this crazy theory that I have, and I'm going to show it to you really quick. Then there are a bunch of really awesome news stories to show you. A long time ago, and let me just sum this up and then we'll do the intro. A long time ago in Los Angeles, a man invented a machine that could peer into the ground. You know, like a seismograph thing or something. And he found a whole bunch of tunnels and a bunch of what he said was gold reading from down below. And that man got permission from the city of LA to dig a giant hole to try to get to the tunnels and to the treasure so that he himself would split the money with the city of LA and become rich and famous. Well, if you know anything about this true and factual story, even though the tunnels were supposedly real and the gold was there, he could not dig down enough to get to the tunnels with the money that he had. Now, fast forward to all these years later, and a rich billionaire decides he's gonna dig a bunch of tunnels in LA to do stuff. But some people, like UNIRock here on the internet, are posing the question in their shows on YouTube, could Elon Musk be digging down into the ground for reasons other than what he is willing to admit? You're going to find out right now on this crazy episode of Duct Tape and Crowns Uni News. And I'm going to pose a question. Eddie Bravo, you're subscribed to my YouTube channels. Why aren't you streaming with me? Come on, Eddie, man, let's have some fun. Let's stream together. Eddie Bravo definitely is subscribed to my YouTube channels. I will prove it in a little bit. Eddie, come hang. And then after I talk about that, we are going to look at, whoops, no, not more underground tunnels. We're going to look at how Roger Stone admits he used InfoWars to peddle. That doesn't make sense. Is that real? How the, remember that star from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Do you remember this dance? He's suing Fortnite along with a rapper. Saturn is losing its iconic planetary ring, says this stupid article. Scientists then discover Far Out, the most distant solar system object ever named, and the most obvious name and unintelligent name for a planet that you've ever heard. And we're going to end this stream on an 11-year-old girl's inoperable brain tumor miraculously vanishing. Could it be some type of medical explanation? Could it be some type of normal thing? Or is it living on a prayer? All that right now on this episode of Uni News. Let's go.
Your God now.
That was a big one. If Busy had a microphone, would he be congratulating me for that excellent intro? All right. He would. Busy, will you get off the freaking couch, chug some whiskey, and grab your microphone, please? I can't do these shows without you. It's too stressful. You reduce the stress. Did I really just say that my assistant reduces the stress of this show? Because that's the opposite of what he does. That is the absolute stinking opposite. Oh, no, I just got a notification. H3H3 Podcast thinks that they're going to go live at the same time that I'm going live. We'll see. We'll see, H3. We'll see. So back to the stupid theory that I was talking about in the beginning of this. Yes, it is true, my friends. there was a man who claimed that there were massive tunnels under LA. Now, back when he did this, and I'm going to get into the details, y'all. This is like a well-known story. Ignore the lizard people part. Ignore it for right now, okay? This is crazy. This is really a crazy story because this is real. This dude named George Warren Schofelt, he was like a prospector and a archaeologist or some crap. Why don't I just read parts of it, because I'm gonna describe it all wrong, but I'm not kidding. Underneath downtown LA, so we're talking at the corner of Roadway, Fort Moore Place, and I can't read that one, North Shoreway or North Broadway. Broadway? I don't know. But under some of the most famous or biggest or most like used roads in Los Angeles, no joke, these tunnels were detected legitly, scientifically, all that time ago. And you're gonna be thinking, I'm about to get you thinking. I know what you're thinking right now. UNIRock, you're never live this early. It's like 5:30. You usually don't go live till like 9, 8:30 or 9. What are you doing? Well, I'm busy tomorrow, so I got to get started early today, okay? Anyway, let's do this. One of the more colorful urban legends of LA is that of the lizard people, an advanced race of humans who created an underground city some 5,000 years ago. But, may I please interject, website? Here's the deal. This isn't a legend for no reason, okay? It's not like some crazy, like UNIRock, you're off in conspiracy land with this one. You sound like one of those, you know, Hillary Clinton vampire conspiracy theorists. No. There is reason to talk about this. This is why YouTube, you need to lighten up on conspiracy theory. I get it. When it's connected to politics, you got to crack down. But if it's not, then leave it alone. Because this conspiracy theory actually comes from a Native American legend. So, there was a tale told by certain Native American word-of-mouth history historians. I'm bad. I am really bad with my words today, but that's okay. I'm going to make my point. Come on, zoom in, Biz. Thank you. So, this is an actual, like, word of mouth, like passed down from generation to generation Native American story that there was a race of lizard people that were fearing a catastrophe happening above ground, you know, like above on the surface of the earth many years ago. And in order to avoid this catastrophe, they say 5,000 years ago, but then again, who knows, right? In order to avoid the catastrophe, as the Native American legend goes, this race of lizard people, you're gonna flip out when I get done with this, man. You are gonna flip out when I get done with this. So this race of lizard people went underground and built these tunnels. You're gonna say like, wait a minute, UNIRock, so now you're trying to tell me that there are lizard people out there and they build tunnels, and what, are they just like got really, you know, they got like, you know, shovel hands or something? No. Now, the Native Americans themselves, and I'll tell you the tribe and everything once we get into this, they actually said that they use a type of acid that they could use to dig out like tunnels automatically. So this acid or this chemical would eat through the ground, and it would be like a really well-constructed tunnel, because since like the rest of the rock is around it and it's very deep down, you know, these would be very sturdy tunnels. Anyway, that's an actual Native American myth or lore or part of their religion or, you know, historical story. And I know what a lot of people say. Some people out there say you can't take an old, you know, spoken word story like that and translate it to real world history. And I get that, but isn't it weird that this treasure hunter discusses this with some of the Native American people around California and then ends up discovering the tunnel system? And I don't know, if I don't start reading, I'm gonna lose track of what I'm talking about, because guys, I've been working on this all day. So here we go. Let's get into this a little deeper. And this all will link into the dinosaurs here in a minute. I know you're like, UNIRock, you've lost it. No, by the time I'm done, you're gonna get it. I mean it. You're gonna get what I'm saying. One of the more colorful urban legends is that of the lizard people. 5,000 years ago, created an underground city in LA. According to the story, incalculable riches in gold tablets with the origins of human civilization carved into them were just waiting to be discovered by a savvy treasure hunter. Do we have mods here right now? Okay, we got mods, right? I'm gonna turn off member chat, but if any douchebags show up, let me know and I'll turn member back on. So now anyone can chat that wants to chat. Okay. I'll hook you up for a little bit. But I want the peeps to be able to talk. So if you guys have any douchey guys show up, let me know. We'll shut them down. The super race allegedly related to the Mayans, and is it not a little bit strange that if you've been studying your Mayan lore also, the Mayans worshipped reptilian gods. Quetzalcoatl was a snake or dragon god. We'll get into that in a minute. You guys have been asking for this type of content. There's a video coming to my main channel to sum all this up too. So you're getting what you asked for, if you ask me. You did too. You did ask me. Anyway, and I haven't even read I want you to let you know, I have not read this specific article. I dug up all of this earlier, like looking at some really old stuff, so this article is gonna, I would say, if there's any, it's the Hopi Indian myth. Okay, if this article messes up, I'll catch it and let you know. Let me get back to it. The super race, allegedly related to the Mayans, had purportedly fled a catastrophic meteor shower and created several such communities along the Pacific coast, including the one in our Deer Basin. The so-called lizard people were so intellectually and technologically advanced that they used mysterious chemicals to dig a network of 285 fully equipped tunnels with vast chambers large enough to accommodate 1,000 families who lived off of food and water placed by the tribe. Well, Koga, I'm glad, man. I'm glad I got you. I'm glad I can bring it to you, my man. This story, loosely drawn from a Hopi and Indian myth by a tribesman called Chief Green Leaf, was told to a geophysicist and mining engineer named George Warren Shufelt in 1933. As it turned out, Shufelt had invented what he called a radio X-ray machine, which he believed could detect underground tunnels. Why does this narrative keep coming up where it's he believes and, you know, they try to cast doubt on it anytime you read about this. For God's sake, man, the dude proved that this could detect underground tunnels, and they use the same type of technology now. Links, edits, thanks, bro. Good to have you. Now, once more, though, let me state this. Even though I'm kind of a crazy conspiracy type guy, I always check my facts. I always try to bring you both sides. So please, don't assume what I believe about all of this, because I'm going to tell you when we get done. I always give my opinion too. Add to that the promise of an ancient sheepskin map held by two other treasure seekers, and you have a tale that went viral by 1933 standards. See, there's even more that legitimizes. Busy, do you have your microphone? Check the dictionary. Is it legitimizes? Oh my God, it is not legitimates. Where do you get those words? Those are drunk words, Busy. And you're drunk, so I suppose that it works. It just works. He's drunk. Shufelt's quest for the lizard people's golden treasure was picked up and followed closely by the LA Times. This was reported on, by the way. And let me add in that the city themselves, if you don't stop clicking the wrong button, bro, in the fridge. Take like 2 more shots. You're not pressing the right buttons. The newspaper and the city both themselves. That was good. Dude, that music really works. The city, the newspapers, everyone was interested, and they took this seriously. They didn't take it as a conspiracy, by the way. Such a good transition. Sheffeld's quest for the lizard people treasure was picked up and followed by the LA Times, and in turn the Associated frickin' Press, y'all. which spread Schufeld's search for the lost catacombs and their inhabitants all across America. The entire underground city, appropriately shaped like a lizard, reached from Elysian Park, the lizard's head, and Elysian for God's sakes. Really? Relating to characteristic of heaven or paradise. Gee Willikers, Batman. Maybe they named it that park because it was like what the Native Americans called it. And maybe the Native Americans got it from an older source. Okay, now I'm reaching into conspiracy theory. Schufelt swore... whoa, I missed a part. And today's Central Library, which is the tip of the tail. Schufelt swore up and down that he had discovered the exact locations of 1,900 square feet of tunnels, rooms with 9,000 feet of floor space, and 16 places where gold was stored, all by using a radio X-ray machine. He created this map of passages below the surface of Fort Moore Hill. After getting permission from the County Board of Supervisors, he began to dig up on North Hill Street, overlooking Sunset, Spring, and the Depression. Oh, I skipped one. Sunset, Spring, and North Broadway. That works much better. That was watched like an engineering soap opera by folks in the grip of the Depression. The wildly speculative newspaper reports insisted that buried treasure was Spanish gold planted in the colonial period, and that crew felt they were ready to bring it after 28 feet of shaft was sunk. But here's the issue. Not a lot of people agree with the whole Spanish doubloon theory. Some people thought that this was more of an ancient... Let me just say this. Some of the people out there actually believed the Native American myth that I told you in the beginning. Now, we about to get crazy, so let's get into this. Busy, I am gonna beat the hell out of you if you don't stop turning the freaking volume up so loud, bro. Now, the deal made by Schufelt and his small team was a 50-50 split with the county, but the dig was plagued by challenges. Dense boulders, plenty of mud after the shafts passed the water table. Some experts claimed the dig must reach 1,000 feet, and while Schufelt didn't accomplish 250 and found no gold or tunnels. He just couldn't get that far. He didn't have our technology also. When winter turned to spring, the digging stopped as the money dried up and the newspaper stories vanished along with the radio X-ray. G. Warren, as he was called in the days of the Great Lizard Quest, stayed around LA and finally passed on in North Hollywood in 1957, leaving behind a great story and this memorable map. Now, that is not all, because now there's a little bit of resurgence from me bitching about it online a little. I might be starting my own kind of theory, right? I am the guy who constantly brings you conspiracy theories about Elon Musk. Do you recall the conspiracy theory that I had after seeing so many news stories about Elon and Angela Merkel, Germany's Supreme Chancellor? I forget what her real name is. I know that's not it. I know, Busy, I know. Anyway, I have a playlist called The Trifecta, which has to do with the facts. These are facts here that Elon Musk swooped into Germany and bought up a bunch of electric battery plants. And Angela Merkel was kind of pissed off because right after he did, there was a lot of regulation pushed into the EU by the United States to go for green energy and to try to move away from diesel engines, which, by the way, diesel engines are very profitable for Germany. And I had a theory in the trifecta that Elon Musk could be a hated figure by some of the old money people of the older world. And I don't know. It's all in a playlist called The Trifecta. I thought I made a pretty damn good case, and a lot of people liked the videos because they got a lot of views. But I'm here with the next biggest, strangest, and craziest theory that I have had in the last couple months, because Elon Musk shocked us all when he stated that instead of trying, like, Elon Musk is the space guy. And if you would have asked any of us, what do you think Elon Musk is going to do tomorrow or next week or next month? A lot of people would have said, thank you, Biz. A lot of people would have said, he's probably going to invent some like flying cars or jetpacks or something. No one was ready when he announced that he was going to build a tunnel under LA and try to connect it to, like, I think it was what, San Francisco or something, but he was going to, instead of trying to filter traffic on, you know, the surface, he thought, why don't we do like underground railways but have it be like rocket cars or some shit. Anyway, all of you have seen these videos. I've talked about it at least 20 times. Elon Musk's underground journey, his underground tunnels, where he's trying to, you know, he's easing up traffic by transporting people in a more affordable and environmental way. But I'm posing a question to you. Do you think Elon Musk, because he is if you didn't know this, Elon Musk is kind of conspiratorial, okay? Do you think that Elon could possibly have been searching for that gold, if you get my drift? I'm just asking. Okay. Now, like I said, I've been kind of like trying to, I've been trying to look and see if there are any other stories, any other articles, any other interviews, or, you know, I'm trying to find any other information that might have to do with these tunnels, right? Because, like, what I thought was strange is that Elon Musk just goes to LA. I watched a documentary, right? He just goes there and he's like, hi, city of LA, can I get a permit to dig giant tunnels under the ground? And they're like, yeah. You know, they're not like, why or no or like pay us. They're just like, okay, go ahead, bro. And I thought that was strange back then. And I had heard of this myth, this whole thing. This isn't like some new thing. I mean, they wrote this article back in 2014. And if you watch YouTube videos, this will pop up on like mystery YouTube channels and stuff like that. And sometimes alien YouTube channels will talk about it. Because is it not convenient that a lot of UFO channels say that a branch of aliens are reptilians? In fact, I've heard that from several content creators that we've looked at in the last 4 or 5 months. I'm not going to name names because I'm tired of people. I'm tired of people getting upset because of the things I say about them. So I'm not going to say anything about them. I'm just going to talk factually here. Anyway, here's what I was hoping you guys would help me with, because you guys in my Discord, you always help me dig for stuff, and you guys seriously can find like awesome things on like the drop of a dime instead of me having to dig around forever. So I want to show you a few things I've found about this crazy story that has to do with Elon Musk and his tunnels, and this old story, the legend of the tunnels. But first, there's a lot of really crazy things going on around us on YouTube and in the news, and I want to get that out of the way so that we have like free time to actually kind of stream on this the way I like to stream, which is where I let, you know, talk to you guys, see what you think, get your opinions. So let's go ahead and transition in right now, and let me bring you all the cool stuff that I found going on today, knock it out, and then let's jump back in to talk about this and we'll end this stream. flood conspiracy. I'm looking into that, Trevor, actually. I still have the list I got the other day. The other day. It was yesterday, man. I still got that list of things that we made in the member live stream. So I'm looking into it, and I don't know if you're talking about a different theory than me, but I've been looking into ancient sites like the pyramids, the Sphinx. Also, you can move over to Mesoamerica or, South America, the Mayans, and all how a lot of their stuff was buried under 12 feet of mud and rocks. And then the other site, Göbekli Tepe, was completely buried in the ground. And some people say it's because it happened before the flood, and the Great Flood. The only problem is modern archaeology looks at the Great Flood as a myth. It's supposed to be the Great Deluge myth, the flood myth. And I don't get how that makes any sense whatsoever. I get it to some extent, I suppose. I'll say I get it. I'll be nice to mainstream archaeology and pretend I get it for a second. Because, okay, here's the deal. I know that there's not hardcore factual evidence that there was a great flood, or the amount of the flood, like how high the water rose and what was underwater and what wasn't. I know there's no like really hardcore factual information, but then again, I think, and I'm just weird like this, the ancient books from our ancestors, they didn't have it like we have it. And you know this, our ancestors, it cost a lot of money to write books. It cost a lot of money to inscribe things because reading was considered a very rare thing. At least that's what they say now. You did have to be educated and smart, and a lot of people had to work their whole lives just to survive. So that in itself shows that education and reading weren't necessarily a trend for some societies past a certain amount of years from this one, right? But the problem is that all over the world, disconnected societies all have these myths. And, which you already know because I've complained about this too much, even more so religions. Religions, I can't even think of a society that doesn't, but then again, can you say every society has a flood myth? Or would you even call it a myth by now? Here's the deal, though. A lot of societies also say that before the flood myth, there was another age of man. And in that age of man, it was annihilated by fire. That, there was an age that was annihilated by water, an age by fire. There was an age that had a different kind of death, and I forget what it was. And it's so far back that you can't really prove the fire part, right? Well, it turns out archaeologists have been finding a layer of soot in the ground at a certain point. And it's not necessarily soot, kind of is, but there is like a layer down very deep in the ground. So it was a really long time ago. Across, in certain locations around the world, it was preserved in the mud layer, the sediment. So it proves that there may have been, or guess you could say there was a time when a significant event happened that would have charred the surface of the earth and most likely killed much of the life on the earth at the time. So the problem we have with mainstream archaeology, and I complain about this too, is that often we continually find things that challenge modern archaeology. If we listen to them, first off, if we listen to some people, they will say that because of biblical stories, history only goes back 2,000 years. You get what I'm saying? Lauren, thank you. Now, I don't like that whole thought process because it cuts out a lot of our ancestors, and I don't think it cheapens the Bible or cheapens religious manuals to say that, mankind went back 100,000 years. That doesn't destroy anything from the Bible or from any other ancient manual for me. Some people say it does. Some people won't think that way. They won't open their mind to it, and I respect that. I don't want to put anyone down, especially not for your religion. I just want to tell you that there's a lot of evidence out there that the Sphinx was made not when modern archaeology says it is, and that the Great Pyramids, the three, weren't made when modern archaeology says it is. In fact, there are 3 small pyramids that exactly mimic the large ones, and it's almost like the Egyptians saw those big pyramids, occupied them, and then said, let's build our own, and they couldn't make them as big. They were like, you know, having to practice. You got to work your way up. And that's the thing. There's, I can never remember the name of it, but with the Mayans and their giant structures, they don't have practice structures. And it's kind of weird. Some archaeologists have been, there's a little bit of a debate also about whether the Mayans even built the giant structures that they occupied in modern archaeology. And then I found out something, and I talked about this a week or 2 ago in my last stream where I talked about like ancient stuff. And if you didn't know this, a lot of the giant pyramids in South America were excavated. Maybe not the entire thing. Like, you know, the top of the pyramids in South America. Well, at the top, it's like there's this little room, right? It's not a closed-in room. It's open. It's like a temple at the top, and the pyramids look like giant stairs, right? Well, at one time, some of those pyramids, the only thing you saw was that top part, and they had to excavate out the entire bottom part of the pyramid. The only problem is these things are freaking giant. In fact, let me show you really quick. I've already got it pulled up. I'm that fast. These pyramids are giant. A lot of times we look at the Great Pyramid. I mean, for God's sakes, dude. A lot of times we look at the Great Pyramid in Egypt and we see other megalithic structures and we think to ourselves that these don't compare, but they really do. They do compare. Especially this one, which is on top of a mountain. What's this place called again? Machu Picchu. Oh my goodness, there's some craziness about this. What's one of the greatest mysteries here is when these types of megalithic structures are found, they don't find any of the rocks that were dug out, and a lot of times they can't find where these rocks were quarried. I know you guys know that, but look at this giant pyramid, for God's sake. Tell me that you think it's not possible that it was there well before they state that it is. Okay, that's my point. I'm not saying for a fact. I'm saying that we don't know. And I think that it bothers a lot of us that if we accept modern archaeology, we just have to immediately say, okay, you know, the Mayans built those pyramids. We know they probably built some of them, but the bigger ones, the older ones, the ones that were under 15 feet of mud when they were found, is it not more realistic to say to ourselves that it maybe this mud built up over tens of thousands of years? Why won't modern archaeology admit that? Well, you know as well as I do, it destroys their entire explanation for us as a society. Supposedly we are the first great society. I disagree. I truly think that the way time works, the way that things break down, right? I think that we wouldn't know if there was a society from 100,000 or 300,000 or 1,000,000 years ago. I don't know how far back humanity, intelligent human beings go. I don't know. But I know this. I know for some reason, no matter how much evidence is presented to modern archaeology as a group, as a science, they will not admit when they're wrong. They won't take it into account. For God's sakes, there was a hammer, oldest hammer ever found, that was like 1,000,000. Look at this shit. You're not even going to believe this. Found in London, Texas in 1936 by Max Hahn and his wife while they were out walking. The hammer also became known as the London artifact when when the rock in which the tool was found trapped in was determined to be over 400 million years old. The thing is, it was encapsulated by this rock, which insinuates that this hammer was actually so old that this rock formed around it, petrified. How old are we talking here? 400 million, for God's sake. That's no accident. It didn't naturally, it's not like a tree grew through an iron piece that just happened to look exactly like a hammer. But some people say that this dating could be off. I agree. Maybe not 400 million years. Maybe just 400,000. Some people will say no, more like 4,000. Dude, come on. 4,000. What, did people figure out a way to encapsulate this hammer in the stone? Then again, a lot of people will say that this is debunkable and that it's an error, and that's arguable whatever way you want to go. This is just one example that I'm trying to talk about. There are so many examples that say that modern archaeology needs to edit their stuff. And I want to show you, I know I'm supposed to be doing the I'm supposed to be doing the news right now. I want to show you one more thing about this topic before we jump into the news, okay? And it's not, for those of you that don't know, here at UNIRock, we don't do the regular news. We do the uni news, which is duct tape. It's held together with duct tape and crayons. I pull strange or cool stories to look at. I don't pull none of those shitty ones. Other than one story that actually adds to some of the stuff we've talked about lately. We're going to get to that later. Let me finish this out. I got one more thing to tell you before I leave the ancient stuff alone for a minute, okay? I'll stop bothering you with the ancient stuff. Okay, now, so, if I can get this to load. Science blogs, will you please load? Thank you. Now, one weird thing that I've been looking at for a few days that kind of bothered me is if you look at the evolution of man, all right? I'm not one of those people that say that I completely believe in evolution, because, like, I know science will come out and say, well, we have enough evidence to say that evolution happens, and even more than that, then people will say, what about the missing links? There are so many missing links, not just for humanity, but all across the board. And science will say, well, because it's very hard for a fossil to happen. Now think about this. If dinosaurs were around for so many millions of years, how many dead dinosaurs entered the ground in just 100,000 years, right? And then how many of those actually become fossils? And then how many of those fossils do we find and actually pull out of the ground and be able to look at and study? It's a very, very small number. You get me? Like impossibly small. You got to be super lucky to find a fossil is what I'm saying. Some people out there will say that fossils aren't real, that they don't exist. And even more out there than that, some people will say that dinosaurs don't exist. That's why I want to talk to Eddie Bravo. By the way, I'm not kidding. Eddie Bravo really is subscribed to my YouTube channel. So hopefully I'm going to reach out to the dude. He's watched my videos. I'm going to see if he'll come on the show. Maybe if we tweet him, if a bunch of you guys help me tweet Eddie Bravo, he'll come and hang with us. I think we'd have some good shows. Me discussing the skeptical, more kind of like skeptical, realistic side. Eddie on the whole conspiratorial side of things. That'd be some good shit, son. That'd make a good podcast, Eddie. It could be big, bro. Truden Sapiens, thoughts on the dinosauroid. So let me tell you what this is. Actual scientific study, like not just some dude like, duh, that could happen. Like I'm talking like smart people. Smart people actually sat down, ran computer models or did some type of scientific number crunching and found out that there was a dinosaur species that if it lived, if it did not die off like science says, probably would have evolved into a humanoid. Now, what I mean is they can see the evolutionary ancestor of this dinosaur. They found fossils of a dinosaur, of this dinosaur, that kind of like shows the evolutionary cycle of it. And as they go back in the evolutionary cycle, they see this dinosaur becoming more and more man-like as it goes up until the extinction level event, right? And let me see here. I want to say this right. Not saying that it did turn into a reptilian humanoid. It wouldn't have been much longer. What we have is a dinosaur that started out looking like, you know, a big T-Rex looking giant kind of dinosaur. And as it evolved, it got smaller. It grew arms. Instead of having stubby arms, they got longer and longer and longer. Its back kept evolving more and more and more upright, to the point where if it would have continued, by the way, like I said about fossils, there is kind of like an argument out there from some people that this dinosaur, or that some dinosaur species, did evolve into mammals or did evolve into human beings. Not us, because the theory states they would have looked a lot different than us and most likely had different characteristics. Let me just read this. I don't even know what this is going to say. It was the first one that popped up. Regardless of whether it was gradual or happened in a geological instant, non-avian dinosaurs went extinct by approximately 65 million years ago. But the question of what they might look like today had they survived makes for some entertaining fiction. That's a very strange sentence, blogger. You need to fix that sentence, blogger. Most of such imaginary works are set on isolated islands or plateaus, lost worlds that have provided a refuge for dinosaurs. The most spectacular and enjoyable example being Weta Workshop's companion book to Peter Jackson's remake of King Kong, entitled The World of Kong. Still, many of the dinosaurian hideaways do not take evolution into account. Theropods, sauropods, hadrosaurs, and horned dinosaurs looking little different from what their Mesozoic forebears were supposed to have looked like during their heyday. Weta's work is a pleasant exception to this rule. That is an enormous sentence. I just read an enormous sentence. Blogger, you gotta watch those sentences, Mr. Science Blogger. Damn. Holy moly. All right, where are we at? There are some authors, artists, and even scientists who have pondered what evolution would have done to the dinosaurs had their extinction been avoided. However, the most infamous being Dale Russell's Dinosauroid. Pause it, Biz, for dramatic effect. Have you ever heard of David Icke? If you haven't, you should listen to him speak. Go to YouTube, type in David Icke, followed by like something that you want to hear him talk about, like reptilians or the New World Order, or, I mean, he talks about everything, and he has his own YouTube channel. I'll admit it, I disagree with a lot of the stuff that he says. I mean, it's way out there, but the dude knows how to make an argument, okay? I think all of us can agree that that dude knows how to make an argument, right? But, okay, where are we at here? There was no picture. It says Dinosauroid pictured above, but I don't see a picture. Unfortunately, I don't have the original 1982 Russell and Sagwin paper that first proposed the Dinosauroid as a thought experiment, although today the figure is more prominent in online UFO conspiracy forums than in any scientific discourse. Good. I'm glad that it mentioned that, because it shows that I'm not just making all this up. All right. Our awfully alien-like friend, to a point I'll return to later, still crops up every now and then, though. And it was more a recent television appearance that inspired me to go back and look at the bug-eyed creature that I was first introduced to during the late 1980s and early 90s. The clip brings up an important question, and this website, some of the links are broken, so I can't play the clip, sorry. One that has important meaning for our understanding of evolution in general, for our own history. Are intelligent humanoids destined to evolve? Such a hypothesis invokes a philosophical... Busy? What'd you put in the water today? Because I can't talk. You better not be poisoning me. You can't poison someone with alcohol. It's just called getting them drunk, Busy. What are you talking about? Just leave me alone, Biz. Philosophical idea of Teleology? What? Did I say that right? Teleology. Okay, I'm getting there. And while such a view that evolution direction, or at least inevitable outcomes, is entertained by some scientists, this type of argument is most commonly espoused by advocates of intelligent design. Indeed, those familiar with the views, Simon Conway Morris will likely recall his long-standing public feud with Stephen Jay Gould over the Cambrian fossils of the Burgess Shale and the role of contingency in evolution relating to the issue, a topic that will loom large in this somewhat cursory analysis of the dinosauroid and its philosophical underpinnings. I am not going to bore you with reading a lot. I just wanted to give you the introduction. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is an argument that has been talked about well before, you know, people started talking about it on UFO forums and stuff like that. You may ask yourself, but UNIRock, why is it being discussed on UFO forums if this is a dinosaur debate? Well, I'm glad that you asked through me asking me. Let me tell you. Baby, it's cold outside. That was a horrible joke, but it was so funny that I love it. I said that wrong. That's a great joke, but you get what I mean, right? Oh my goodness, Annabelle Lee, that was too good. Oh my god. Yeah, busy. Are you microdosing me, drugging me while singing Baby It's Cold Outside? How did I know? How did I know? Well, Annabelle knew, but he admitted to it finally. What was I even talking about now? That joke was so good it derailed my thought process. Back to what I was saying. I'm glad you asked me something that I don't remember what the question was now. Oh, why is it that modern now in 2018 this topic is coming up in UFO blogs and not just out there anywhere, right? Like, you know, it was talked about in the 80s, it was talked about in the 90s. Why is there a resurgence now? Well, you could probably guess. There is a group of people that say that they've been abducted, they've seen aliens. There's even witnesses. I'm not going to go into it, but I could actually do a 30-minute freaking talk about people that have seen lizard people. There's one guy who drove as fast as he could to the sheriff so that he could report being chased by a lizard man when he was driving through the country. He stopped, like, what the hell is that? Got a really close look at it, and the dude started running at him. So he drove away, and this dude jumped up onto his hood. Now, I have a theory about that one, because why would the police take him seriously unless when he got there, there was like his hood was torn up by claws and dents from this reptilian person jumping on his car, and he passed a lie detector test at the sheriff's office. You can even look that up if you don't believe me. Is he just really good at passing a lie detector test? Or was he telling the truth? Or was it just a drunk dude in a Halloween costume? We don't know. But the thing we do know is that the idea of reptilian humanoids is not some unheard of thing. You guys know. You can search on Ancient Aliens. You can search on UFO blogs. You could probably go to Secure Team 10 and hang out with Tyler and hear about it, right? A lot of people will talk about reptilians. Even David Icke, that's like his main thing. That's like his rise to fame. You want to know what's weird? David Icke has an enormous audience of people that believe him. And he goes around I was going to say country, but he goes around the world and gives speeches about this. David Icke, he's kind of popular. But I'm not here to talk about all of this. This is just an offshoot of this thing that I was thinking about all day, and this Elon Musk thing that happened, and it's just an offshoot of all that, right? I got to get back to the news. So if you like this topic, me kind of digging, get the pun, digging. It was funny, Busy. You guys can see me pushing Busy's buttons. I don't know why I'm even doing this right now. If you like this topic, if you like this whole thing I'm looking into, and trust me, I'm not trying to prove anything to you. I'm trying to make you think. I'm trying to pose a question. I'm trying to pose a thought process. I'm trying to entertain you while doing it. You get me? I think it's an interesting idea. And I also want one other thing from you. Yeah, I'm gonna make you work. You got homework. I want to know if there's any other kind of like mysterious reason you think, other than the main reasons, that Elon Musk just wants a clean method of travel that will reduce the clogged roadways of our world. Okay, that's normal shit right there. Is there any other really weird reason that Elon Musk would be digging these holes in LA? I want to know. So leave it in the comments if you're watching on the replay, or just tell me if you're in the live chat when we get to the end of this. Because right now, I'm going to tell you about the news that's going on that relates to all of the crazy things that we talk about. Let's get into it. Oh yeah, Koga. The City of Gold's one of my favorite. I have to do a video on that. I'm so glad you said that. I'm putting it in my notes right now. Oh my God! I left out one giant part. All right. I know you guys are like, damn it, UNIRock, you said you were going to move on and now you're going to jump back. I'm jumping back. I got to. I'm sorry. One other part of this entire discussion is actually attributed to Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan is a very smart person, and he used to have a show in the 80s, or was it the late 70s? You guys will have to tell me that, right? He had one of the best shows. It was like the Cosmos, and he taught a lot of people a lot of things about space. Taught a lot of people a lot of things about the universe and how it works, but Sagan was just a really interesting guy. And he had a theory, and it had to do with lizards evolving into human beings, which, by the way, we all admit, if you believe it, I'm not saying you believe in evolution. I'm not saying evolution's real. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm making a statement. If you believe in evolution, or if you've studied it, you know that the way it goes is that we all originated from the ocean, and eventually certain types of fish or became amphibians. They migrated to the point where they could go out on land and go back in the water, and vice versa, and back and forth, eventually until those reptilians stayed on the land. And in order to adapt to not being in the ocean, they became mammals and eventually turned into human beings. And trust me, like I said, I've got so many problems with evolution. I have this problem where I'm extremely scientific. I love seeing all the different, I love being educated in modern science and what they say happened. And then I love going and trying to ponder the problems with science. I don't like calling science fake. I think it's a cop-out. The easiest thing that you can do is just call it fake, right? Because not all of science is fake, I'm sorry to say. Even if you're the craziest conspiracy theorist in the world, you've got to admit all of it's not fake. There has to be good scientists out there who have made good work and can prove their points, all right? But what I'm saying to you is, my thought process, the way I do it, I learn everything they're teaching. I take physics or geometry or whatever. I take history. I look at archaeology. I look at astrology, and then I say to myself, where do I think things aren't right here? And then I think about it and do discussions on it. In fact, I'd have to say that that's like the main brunt of my main YouTube channel, UNIRock. Other than telling you cool stories off the internet, like my last video that if you haven't seen, you should check out, because it'll blow your freaking mind, man. I've been focusing on coincidences. If you didn't know, my new videos, they're all about coincidences, the craziest coincidences that came true. Okay, so Carl Sagan, following the studies that people have done on evolution, the genome, the mapping of the human genome, study on DNA, and the well, I don't think Sagan was around when they actually mapped the genome, but maybe he was. I don't fucking know. All I'm saying is, if you have studied evolution at all in school, you know that that's the entire thing. That fish to amphibians to mammals to humans, you get me. And in saying that, they say that the part of our brain that's mostly territorial, mostly instinctual, is some people will call it the reptilian part of the brain. Now, the triune brain hypothesis, developed by the neuroscientist Paul MacLean between the 60s and the 90s, and widely popularized by the astronomer Carl Sagan, asserts, and he wrote a book actually. I'm working on reading it and bringing you a sum up of the book by Sagan. Asserts that we do have a lizard brain under our mammal brain, and that our mammal brain is itself under our primate human brain. Then you do have people that argue it. You don't have a lizard brain. You know what? I want to see what this dude says. I've got too much video content for you guys. I have too much content to bring you. I could not get all this content out to you in a week. How am I going to get it out to you in videos and sort it right and make it easily freaking watchable? This is my plague. This is my plight. This is what I do. Okay. The trireme brain is a model of the evolution of vertebrate forebrain and behavior proposed by the American physician and neuroscientist Paul D. MacLean. MacLean originally formulated his model in the 60s and propounded it at length in his 1990 book, The Triune Brain and Evolution. The triune brain consists of the reptilian complex, the paleomammalian complex, and the neo-mammalian complex, viewed as structures sequentially added to the forebrain in the course of evolution. However, this hypothesis is no longer espoused by the majority of comparative neuroscientists in the post-2000 era. The triune brain hypothesis became familiar to a broad popular audience through Carl Sagan's Pulitzer Prize-winning 1977 book, The Dragons of Eden. The theory has been embraced by some psychiatrists and at least one leading effective neuroscience researcher. I'm only going to read you the part about the reptilian complex. And remember, I'm reading the book, and I'll sum it up for you sometime in a video review. Okay. I know, I just need to do it live, David, but when I do, I end up having like 16 hours of recorded footage in like 3 days, and then people are complaining, I want to watch all your stuff, man, but I got to sit here for 16 hours. So, like, I have to do it in video sum up form, but the reptilian complex, also known as the R complex or reptilian brain, was the name MacLean gave to the basal ganglia, structures derived from the floor of the forebrain during development. The term derives from the idea that the comparative neuroanatomists, that can't be, the comparative blah 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 once believed that the forebrains of reptiles and birds were dominated by these structures. MacLean proposed that the reptilian complex was responsible for species-typical instinctual behaviors involved in aggression, dominance, territoriality, and ritual displays. Now, I'm also going to get crazy again before I get any saner. Okay. Religion also has a lot of reptilian influence, and I'm not arguing that reptile people are out there, damn it. I don't know what's out there. I'm not arguing if we evolved or if we didn't. I'm simply stating a lot of religions around I think that's all we can do, man. You know, we got so many people out there. You don't have a reptile brain, but you do have a reptile brain under your mammal brain. No, you don't, sir. Give me a tea and crumpet. My point is, we don't know, man. You can do all the scientific experiment in the world, and it doesn't mean it's right. You could make a good point and pretty much reduce the percentage chance that it's right by, or that it's, wrong by 0%. But anyway, I'm just saying, we can only live in the present, and we can only learn from the past that we have here. That past that I talked about earlier, where if humans were around 1 million years ago or even a couple 100,000 years ago, we will never know. We're not going to ever have a time machine because that's how physics works. Although I've been looking into CERN again, and I have this weird thought that I had when looking into a presentation on the God particle, talking about the Higgs field and the way that matter passes through the Higgs field and is restricted by it, and how matter gains its weight or mass from the Higgs field, which is gravity. And it kind of made sense that there is a spirit world out there. I have this strange thought bubbling in my head, and by the time it comes out, I'm going to scare away so many subscribers because it's crazy, but I'm going to do it. Let me do this one. I'm too enthralled by this not to do this, so let me look at this really quick. You guys, you don't have to hide like Stefan's comment. Stefan, I'm sorry your comment got hidden. I'll read it. If you think that warm-blooded animals evolved from cold-blooded ones, oh, no, it's okay. Yeah, I'm glad you guys hit it because he said you're retarded if you think that. I don't know why you got to think somebody's retarded if they think that. I didn't say that I truly believe that just now either, and I don't know why it would make anyone retarded to believe that. There's actually a lot of, out of what I was watching today, there was a good argument that a person was making that cold-blooded animals did evolve into warm-blooded. But then again, there's a lot of good argument that they didn't. And I get what you're saying. I just don't think it makes somebody retarded to have a differing opinion, is my point. Good catch, Mod. Sorry I questioned you. The paleo-mammalian brain consists of the septum, amygdala, hypothalamus, and a hippocampal complex, and cingulate cortex. McLean first introduced the term limbic system to refer to this set of interconnected brain structures in a paper in '52. McLean's recognition of the limbic system as a major functional system in the brain was widely accepted among neuroscientists and is generally regarded as his most important contribution to the field. McLean maintained that the structures of the limbic system arose early in mammalian evolution, hence paleo-mammalian, and were responsible for the motivation and emotion involved in feeding, reproductive behavior, and parental behavior. So look, basically, what it seems to me, a way to sum this up is that an earlier assumption of evolution was picked up by really smart people, and they were pondering if, they thought to themselves, if it's true that fish eventually evolved into, I won't say fish, something eventually evolved from the ocean to the land and life came from it. And if that is true, then they thought to themselves, it would make sense that the brain would form some type of fundamental, it would hold on to some type of evolutionary residual proof or evidence. And then I saw one other thing that's really weird that I won't bring up because it's just going to convolute everything. But lucky for whoever it was who said something about if you think that cold-blooded evolved to warm-blooded, then you're retarded. Well, I think this person, Daniel Toker, actually maintains that argument also, because his argument is you do not have a lizard brain. And one thing I always try to do, and I'm not afraid to do, is to bring you both sides of an argument. So anyway, let's find out why he believes that people do not, and then you'll have more context to make your mind up. But I'm not expecting you to make your mind up. I'm just trying, like I always say, the whole point of my show, I'm just trying. Jesus! Busy, fix it, Busy. What happened? What happened, Biz? I don't believe you. You just sabotaged us. Sorry about that. No, I really do have to fix this. Constantly, when I use that little volume slider, it pops up to the front. Okay, what was I saying? That scared the fuck out of me. Oh, that there may be a little bit of reprieve here with this man's opinion, because I'm not afraid to bring you both sides of an argument, because I'm not trying to convince you of anything here. I'm trying to just give you food for thought. I'm just trying to make you think. That's all I do with my content. Man, you got really good points. I just saw what your comment said there. He said, Stefan said It wouldn't work. There are no environmental pressures in the sea to cause land favorable traits to be kept. And I'm not saying that I don't agree with you at all. I'm just bringing this kind of like weird mishmash of all the different points that were made and different counterpoints that I saw throughout the day to sum up in a video presentation for people. So, not saying I disagree. You Do Not Have a Lizard Brain by Daniel Toker is the counter argument to Carl Sagan's presentation in his book. Let's take a look. Despite our best intentions, scientists sometimes make a very basic mistake. We look for what makes humans unique. Certainly, humans are not just unique, but extraordinary. Nothing else in the known universe has produced art, science, technology, or civilization. But see, every so often, we make statements that don't make sense. We have no idea what else is out there in the known universe, other than what we can see through telescopes. So, I get what he's saying. Let's keep going though. Now, but our history of searching for how precisely we came to be exceptional has often led to bad science and popular acceptance of bad science. There are the familiar old examples, such as the instance that the Earth is at the center of the universe, or that humans couldn't possibly have evolved from other animals. But our search for what makes us special leads to popular acceptance of unfounded theories even today. When did he write this? Because that's such a good statement. I don't even see a date. Come on! I need a date. Dude, if you wrote this a year or two ago, you could just get a freaking Pulitzer Prize now. Because the internet has devolved and degraded so fucking far just in the last year. And I won't say why, because I'll make a bunch of grown men cry for a week. Like I do every day. I'll move on. Certainly humans are not just I read that part. But our search for what makes us special leads to popular acceptance of unfounded theories even today. And even among those who are otherwise extraordinarily well informed, nowhere is that clearer than in any hugely popular and entirely wrong theory called the triune brain hypothesis. You may have heard this at a proposal that we have lizard brains. The triune brain hypothesis, developed by the neuroscientist, I already read all of that, asserts, okay, lizard brain under our mammal brain, and our mammal brain itself is under our blah, blah, blah. McLean proposed incorrectly, this man says, after he made some curious observations about the effects of cutting out what he called the reptilian complex of a monkey's brain. So named because he thought it looked similar to the tissue that made up most of a reptile's brain. When McLean took out the part of, oh my God, can you believe that shit? I get it. We need to do things like this for science, but doesn't it make you a bad person if you're cutting out half of a monkey's brain? Even if it's for science. I don't like it. I don't like it, man. It freaking creeps me out. What do you do when you get home from work when you're a scientist and your wife says, "Hi, honey, I missed you. Give me a hug and a kiss. What did you do today?" And then you say to your wife, I cut that monkey's brain out for science. Or I'm sorry, I cut half of that monkey's brain out for science. Did he die? No, he didn't die. He's still kicking. Oh, fuck, dude. I just can't. I can't think about it. Oh, my goodness. The monkey stopped aggressively gesturing at his own reflection. It's because he had to have his brain removed, man. You took half the dude's brain out. What do you expect the monkey to do? Backflips? Okay, I got this. I'll stop. Which it thought was another male monkey. This behavior changed to fit McLean's hunch that he'd taken out the reptile-like part of the monkey's brain, since he thought that aggressive gesturing is a typical example of reptilian behavior. I think that's... Dude, now, come on. That's just being a little hard on him. Being a little hard on McLean here. It's unclear why cutting out this part of the monkey's brain made the monkey stop showing aggressive displays. It's also unclear how the monkey lived, but I'm not asking questions. But this brain area, more commonly called the globus pallidus, is known to be involved in an enormous variety of processes, just like other parts of the brain. Also, to my knowledge, McLean's original observations have not been replicated, and his claim about the prominence of the globus pallidus and the reptilian brain is false, says Daniel Toker. And I just wanted to give you the other side. Now, I promise I'm going to shut up. I swear to God, I'll quit boring you with this now. But this is the kind of stuff that I look at all day. In fact, I had a thought. I was thinking about the Sumerians, and I was like remembering, like, you know what? I bet a lot of societies spent all of a child's time learning. And because they were talking about how one group of kids learned everything that they learned from a certain sage. And this sage taught like the Vedic texts and other type of other type of, some would call religious and other will call scientific text from, back in the day, if you get what I'm saying, a long time ago. And they were describing, I kind of got this theory that the kids woke up and sat and learned with these sages all through their child life. That's what they did. That was like their whole, like we go to school, and then we go home and have summer off, and, we spend a lot of time after school doing what we want and on the weekends. But I had this thought process like, no, kids didn't do that back in the day. They really did learn a lot more. And then even adults, I know adults had other jobs back then, but for sages and for other learned men back then, it was describing how they spend their entire life learning from wake up to sleep, with no breaks. Because I was like, when I was 19 and 20, what was I doing with my time? And I got some memories flooding in of me, like, playing video games. I'm like thinking to myself, if in the future man could look back at what you did during your life and they just decided, I'm gonna see what that Jason dude's doing, and let's see what he did when he was 19, and I'm like sitting there playing fucking PlayStation, like burping real loud, drinking Mountain Dew, and on the weekends getting drunk and partying and doing all the crazy shit I used to do, and they'd say to themselves, yep, we stumbled upon a crazy society. Because you probably rewind back 2,000 years and see a larger mass of people in civilized areas working well harder than we work. It's just a crazy thought. I'm sorry. Shut up, UNIRock. You've got to do the news. Okay, I swear. Busy, will you please give me some Uni's Gotta Do the News music? Thank you. This will get me into the news. I swear. Here we go. Heading to the news. Hit it. You hit it, Biz. Thanks. Well, anytime, buddy. All right. Roger Stone. Oh, Rogery Stone. Rogery Stone. Man, I wish my last name was Stone. I had to have the most common name on my military, uniform. Stone, I don't even know if he was in the military, but if he was, it would have said Stone. It would have said Stone, man. Dude, that's the kind of name where you're like, you don't want to mess with Stone, man. You don't want to mess with that dude Stone over there. Oh, he's one hard motherfucker, that Stone. Oh, my show has devolved into madness today. Okay, so I must explain. Busy, cut the music. I didn't explain. I must explain before I go, because if not, I'll get a bunch of people in the comments angrily making assumptions and having a giant hissy fit when they could just not watch my show. Every single day, the same people watch me stream at night and then sit and talk shit. It's like, dude, just don't watch me, please. Roger Stone admits he used InfoWars to peddle lies. I am bringing you this story, but I'm not telling you it's true. I'm going to discuss it with you for a second, and I hope you understand that I don't like the media news cycle. I don't like. It's broken. It's been broken since I was in my fucking forever. Damn it! It's been broken at least for a long time. We could say. I don't like what the media does. I'm not advertising this idea that Stone lied. I'm just telling you that this is what the hell they're saying in the media today. And I am one of those people that think you should be in front of propaganda. You should be in front of any type of misleading content online and stay ahead of it and make sure that you're not caught up in it. And that's why I try to battle misinformation all the time on this channel. Give me 1 second, please. Had to wet my whistle. Shut up, Busy. Okay. Back to the news. Roger Stone admits he used InfoWars to peddle lies. So, is this going to be a good story? Is it going to be a propaganda hit piece? God only knows. If Busy would play my news music, I'd freaking tell you. Thank you, Biz. Former Donald Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone admitted as part of a settlement in a defamation suit that he used, and listen to how they describe InfoWars, the right-wing conspiracy theory website. Wouldn't just conspiracy theory website be enough? Once again, it's not a bad thing to be a conspiracy theorist. But yes, it is, UNIRock. It means that you're stupid. I disagree. I think if you accept every conspiracy theory, you're just as asleep as anyone that rejects every conspiracy theory. You gotta have the facts. You gotta follow the facts. You gotta keep an open mind, but you can't have your mind so open that you're letting people lead you around and, you know, control what you think. You should only go where the evidence takes you, in my opinion. Okay. Oh, I didn't see that word. Ooh, that's a doozy. And misinfo. Let's see what they got. So I would expect after reading that sentence to actually have them prove it. Let's see if they prove it. Stone agreed as part of a settlement to buy newspaper ads and publish a statement on his Facebook and Instagram accounts apologizing to Chinese businessman Guyu Gao Wengyue for falsely claiming he had been convicted of financial crimes and violated U.S. election law by making political donations to presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. You're telling me that Stone has to hold the front door? Is this real? Where's this coming from? You know what? Let me search this. I don't want to read it from that website. Let's see here. Oh, shit. Well, I don't like reading anything from InfoWars, so let me state this before I read this from InfoWars. I hate CNN. InfoWars. Before I read this from CNN, I hate CNN. CNN has been busted by me and many other online news propagandistic, watchers and exposers. They've been busted so many times manipulating stories to get their political outcome out of the other end that you can't trust anything they say. This is my opinion. CNN, you can't block me from your website again. Did you guys know that CNN blocked me from their fucking website? Like, I couldn't even pull it up. No, I'm being dead serious. Like, for almost like a year on my main channel, anytime I wanted to like look at CNN, I'd have to log in a different way than normal. I'd have to, look it up on the internet some other way than from my IP address because they fucking blocked me. I didn't even think it was possible, but they did. I think I couldn't bring it. I know I couldn't pull it up. I was the only one. Everyone watching my live shows like, I can pull it up. Everybody else using a different device in the house is like, I can pull it up. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm paranoid. I hate CNN. CNN needs to close their doors. If InfoWars is forced to be taken off of YouTube in the App Store and the iOS Store, then CNN has to also, because they have egregiously done the same thing that they are accusing InfoWars of doing, just at the other political spectrum. I agree, InfoWars definitely took liberties and said a lot of shit that wasn't true, and I'm just talking about Alex Jones, because I didn't watch this guy. I didn't watch Roger Stone or David Knight. I watched Rob Dew and Samoan Schroyer when he was on, and I watched Alex. Didn't really pay attention to the other guys that much, honestly. Every time they'd start talking, I'd be like, this is some fucking droll shit here because they were more political, and I'm not. I hate politics. I don't like politicians either. Have I not made that clear by now? Anyway, though, let's get into it. I'm trying to stall because I hate reading CNN articles. Let's get into it. Oh, well, I wonder if they're going to take all the monetization from this video if I click play. Let's see. Doop, be doop, be doop, be doop, 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 doop,
Trump confidant Roger Stone is speaking out after invoking his Fifth Amendment rights to avoid testifying before the U.S. Senate and turning over what he describes as truckloads of documents. Let's go to our political correspondent, Sarah Murray. She's working the story for us. Sarah, President Trump praised Roger Stone's defiance in the Russia probe earlier in the week, and you had a chance to speak with him.
Really?
What are you learning right now about any coordination?
What are you learning? What are you learning, Sarah?
Between the two.
Well, Wolf, remember earlier this week, President Trump praised Roger Stone, said he had guts because Stone had previously said he would never testify against the president. Now, Stone insisted to me today there's been no communication between the president's lawyers and his lawyers. He says they don't have a joint defense agreement. And in a speech here in D.C., he insisted the president's tweet was nothing more than a tweet, certainly not witness tampering.
I was proud to see a tweet from the President of the United States who lauded me for my guts. Now, some in the mainstream media went immediately to a host of all liberal legal analysts who said that the president's tweet could constitute witness tampering. Absurd on the basis of the fact that I have said the exact same thing on the record on numerous forums for the last 2 years.
Now, Wolf, obviously some read the president's tweet as a nod to Roger Stone that, maybe he would pardon him if he ended up in legal trouble. Roger Stone obviously downplaying the idea that there's any kind of obstruction of justice going on here, Wolf.
As you know, Sarah, the Senate wants Stone to testify, but he's refusing to do so by pleading the Fifth. Is he changing his mind?
Well, I certainly think he's trying to play a little bit of a game with the Senate here. He made it very clear that he was not willing to testify behind closed doors, but said, maybe I would be willing to reconsider if they made that public.
Oh, really? You can't trust anything that comes out of CNN's dirty mouth. So any of their analysts, any of their reporters, I'm sorry, man. I tried. I gave them so many freaking chances in the 90s, let alone when I started my YouTube channel. And I said to myself, this kind of sucks because I'm going to have to use CNN to read what, is going on out there. And God knows it's at the point with me. And look, I respect you for how you feel. You don't have to agree with me here, but it's at the point with me when I hear CNN say something, when they report something, I don't even trust it. Like, if they're to come out and say that there was a plane crash somewhere in the United States, I would question it until I researched it. It doesn't mean I wouldn't believe that it happened or disbelieve it. It would just mean that I would expect to find more facts before I actually commit to saying that, oh, I understand what's going on and I think I know what happened. I'd like to say this too. None of us are everywhere, okay? And I do think the media manipulates their stories. I know that the media, okay, I can't say that. I know that a lot of the media manipulates their stories to get the effect out of it that they want, okay? And I know that's going to happen here. Different song. Thanks, Biz. So, Stone settled a defamation suit on Monday, admitting and apologizing for making false... Is this recent? Yeah, holy shit. On the right-wing conspiracy website InfoWars, Stone reached a settlement with the exiled businessman Gao Wengu, who is seeking asylum in the U.S. Gao, who also goes by Miles Kwok, fled China after using social media to make allegations of corruption against China's political elite. Well, who would have thunk it? See this word right here? The way it sits right now, whoever's talking about this And anyone involved at the top levels of this, most likely you're not going to be able to trust. Although I'll say there is a good 1% of people out there that do commentate politically, and very much a lower number of people involved in politics for their job or for what they do that are honest. I'll go that far. The settlement earlier reported by, oh my goodness, the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal is by far the worst out of the thing I just described. If you caught my stories over the last few days, the things I talked about in my show, PewDiePie, other YouTubers, if they don't like you for whatever reason, if it's because you're a business rival to them, if it's because you're on the other side of politics, if they don't like you, they will lie their effing asses off to make you look bad. I still cannot believe that they tried to say that because PewDiePie joined an online video game, that because another player had a nickname that they didn't like, that they called him a Nazi. That literally is true. I almost thought people were exaggerating it. Like, nah, the WSJ didn't do that. Did I say that right? Yeah, WSJ. They didn't do that. They didn't just call him a full-out Nazi just because he played a video game in a random server and some guy with a shitty nickname jumped in. They didn't just say that. No. They did. They did. That's not even all they said. They said, then somebody else tried to say, a games journalist or a game developer, I don't know, tried to say, a person who worked for a game developer in a pretty high up position tried to say that you should ban PewDiePie, and I forget for what for, and she immediately had to retract her statements and put her all of her social media on private. These people are out for blood. They're coming for all of us. You want to know why? Because the mainstream media has their backs, and the mainstream media is like a mafia. They're like an information mafia. They want to criticize InfoWars, and yet they are equally as bad. I know, I do have problems. I never said Alex Jones, okay? I like Alex Jones. I don't believe a lot of the stuff he says. When has it ever been when you talk to another human being that you believed everything they fucking said? On top of that, human beings make mistakes. So when Jones is pissed and giving a story, one thing I liked about him was that he was honest about how he felt. He may not be describing what happened correctly in the term of history or in the term of like the present, but at least the dude's really telling us how he feels inside, for fuck's sake. You can't get that from the damn CNN or the Wall Street Journal. Oh, but them attacking PewDiePie is how they feel. No, it's not, because if that dude himself, if the same people at the Wall Street Journal would have live streamed themselves playing a video game, and some dude would have jumped in with a bad name and they would have ignored it, and some guy tried to attack them for it, they would defend themselves. They wouldn't agree. They wouldn't say, oh no, I must exit the game immediately and apologize to my live stream because another player has a bad nickname that other people will get offended for having. We are in a fucked society. I'm not going to rant tonight because I've already ranted way too long. We are in a fucked up society when you literally have to worry about anyone's feelings. It's like, no, there's no such thing as changing the channel, even though the internet has given us literally 1 million channels to change to. No such thing. If you're offended, if you don't like what's in front of you, you have to try to get it taken away from everyone else if it will affect you and benefit you monetarily, as in they are a competitor to you, or if they have if it will help you in a political way in any shape or form. That's where we live now. It's worse than 1984, in my opinion. It's just fucked. It's so fucked. That was my rant. I'm done. Okay, he filed the defamation lawsuit against Stone in March. You're telling me that a guy can flee China and then sue people in the United States? Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying that he shouldn't be able to. I didn't think you could. I thought if you were like a criminal wanted by another country, you couldn't go to another country to sue someone. You know, isn't that fucking weird? Who knows, though? We are living in this is a crazy place. I guess crazy things happen. He sued Stone, saying Stone made false statements about him around September of 17 to January of 18. Stone falsely claimed, says the man, The gal was found guilty and convicted of financial crimes in the U.S., violated election law by making political donations to Hill, and bankrolled a presidential run by former White House advisor Bannon. I want to get serious with the world for a moment. If you think that Roger Stone or Jerome Corsi, or let me go ahead and do this too, anyone from CNN, any of the other politicians out there, every person on the left and right, if you think that they're not all lying and cheating and swindling and bullshitting and propagating your minds to get what they want, you're lying to yourself. That's why if you ever bump into somebody who participates in political banter, and what I mean by that is not the ideas of politics or the philosophy behind it, but actually participates in the dog and pony show that we call Politics Now. If you ever bump into anyone who follows it, you know, follows the politicians we have and what they say to each other and how it works and what one person thinks and another, they're pretty angry people all the time. They're pretty sick. They lie. Even the people that follow them, not all, but a lot of the people that look up to those guys, I'll say almost every one of the people that look up to them or want to be in their world also agree with that statement that I played Jerome Corsi saying. By the way, I'm not insulting Mr. Corsi. Mr. Corsi is also subscribed to my channel, and no joke, and I would hope if he heard me say this, I'm not saying he's watching, but if he did, I'd hope he would hear me here and saying this: it's never okay to mislead, propagate, and bullshit. Sometimes you're going to by accident, and we're all humans. So as long as, you know, if you find out something you reported or something you're doing is, you know, misleading people, if you find that out, you should correct yourself. Correcting yourself is forgivable, and trying your best not to mislead people in the future. That's the whole point, right? Because we're all going to mislead people. We're all going to fucking we're all going to speak wrongly sometimes. You know, we're all going to want to say one word and say another. We're all going to decide to push one, like, and this is my example. During the whole Mueller thing with Corsi, I was really pissed about that one thing that came out where Corsi admitted that he was the guy who started the whole Hillary, we need to start telling everyone that Hillary has a mental defect and that all this other stuff about her, you know, basically admitting that it doesn't matter if it's true or not. We need to start telling people that, and we need to get that narrative going. I would think that after admitting that to the world, that it would be pretty, like, cool for Mr. Corsi to go live and apologize, right? Oh, I'm never going to apologize to Miss Clinton for anything. No, if you did lie about her, you should apologize, right? But it could be true. It could be true that, no, you didn't know. You weren't reporting it because it was true. You were reporting it because you thought it would help what you wanted to have happen, okay? People aren't going to trust people if they realize that they're doing that. You got me? I mean, sometimes you do have to report it. Fine. But let's just say you watch Hillary on CNN and she slips and falls. Then you go around trying to tell people that Hillary's got, like, this disease, that disease, this is wrong with her, Alzheimer's. You know, that's a lie. Okay? That's why I have an issue with the way they do this. Why I've had an issue with it for the whole time, really. Anyway, I'll shut up. So, Stone apologized and retracted his comments about Gao. Quote, all these statements are not true, Stone said, adding that he failed to do proper research before making the statements. Okay, well, what's wrong then? I don't see how that's bad. Unless he did it purposely, and now he's lying that he's saying that he got bad information and reported it wrong. But did he? I'm not going to go there. So, instead of paying $100 million in damages, he's required to post an apology and a retraction on social media as well as his personal website. His statement will be published in advertisements placed in the New York Times, the WSJ, and the Washington Post. Now, that's a little extreme if you ask me. That's just a little extreme. What? He will drop the suit after Stone's apology statement is published. He has denied wrongdoing regarding WikiLeaks. Oh, God, dude. That's so dumb. That's just ridiculous, dude. What the fuck? All right. I'm done with that story. I just wanted to update you about it. And we are going to move on to... This is the funny one for the end. Hold on. How can that be funny? Well, just wait till I tell you. Okay. This is pretty funky. So... one of my favorite TV shows of all time is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it's only because back in the 90s, when I would get out of like high school and stuff, I would always watch The Fresh Prince and they'd have like marathons of it and shit like that. I loved that damn show. And this is before the age of video on demand. The internet couldn't even handle streaming video back then, okay? So if, you know, when they did when you could turn on the TV and watch a marathon of a good show, you watched it and you were happy. Because when that marathon ended, there was nothing good on TV. Fresh Prince was one of my favorites. Well, guess what? I told you about how a kid, I think it was a kid, right? Or is it a rapper? Somebody is suing Fortnite for stealing their dance. I think it's dumb. Look, dude, you danced, you put it on Instagram, and now you're mad that everybody's doing your fucking dance, bro. I didn't know you could copyright dances, by the way. But someone sued Fortnite for a dance. It was like the Daily Mail said the 16-year-old... Dude, these websites are so bad. IGN, your site is so bad, bro. Look at this. This is horrible, IGN. Okay, so it's a 16-year-old backpack kid suing Epic Games for using his move, the floss, in an emote. Dude, you can't sue somebody for dancing, dude. Seriously. But here's the freaking crazy part. Horning and the Floss became famous after he posted videos of himself performing a dance on Instagram, so then he thought he could sue them. Well, look at this. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air star, Alfonso Ribeiro, we know as Carlton, my favorite character on The Fresh Prince, has also filed a lawsuit against Fortnite for allegedly copying his signature dance. Carlton. I love you, bro. I guess I shouldn't call him Carlton. Alfonso, dude, I love you, man, but seriously, drop this shit. Everybody does that. Are you gonna sue me? Because I do that dance at least twice a day. One of those times being in the shower. I just like to dance. It's fun. Okay, shut up, UNIRock. Seriously, how can you sue somebody for doing the Carlton? I'm not joking. This is an actual article. Moving on. So we've known this for a long time. And I wonder how they're going to frame it. You know what I think they're going to do? I think they're going to say Saturn is losing his rings. Global warming. I don't know. But no duh, Saturn's losing its rings. Saturn's rings are composed of meteorites and other things like that. Or just dust, particles, bricks, rocks. You know, some of the stuff you threw away 10 years ago. I don't know. Saturn's rings is composed of space junk. And of course, that space junk leaves orbit on a regular basis based on how it bounces off of other space junk and the gravitational pull of moons and Saturn itself or passing meteors. So yeah, the rings are lost over time. Anyone that studies astronomy knows you're eventually going to lose these rings. And did you know the sun is going to swell up into a red giant and swallow the Earth one day? That's true too. Okay, the jewel of the Earth's celestial neighbors, Saturn, is losing its rings. 2 NASA probes, Voyager 1 and 2, have played pivotal roles in confirming as much. The rings are being pulled into Saturn by gravity as a dusty rain of ice particles under the influence of Saturn's magnetic field. No shit, Sherlock. The research was published from journal Icarus. Not to worry, the rings won't disappear in our lifetime. It'll just take under 300 million years. So UNIRock, of course, is posing the question, who cares? How is it newsworthy? Where does this news come from? Since when do we take known facts about our universe and make them news daily? I don't know. Speaking of which, and this will probably be the last story, I think. No, there's one more after this. Scientists discover far out Named after the 70s term that was popular when somebody would see something cool happen. Far out, man. Bruh, he just did a jump on his skateboard. Far out, man. Dude, you just passed me a joint. Far out, man. Okay, I'm done. Discovered far out, the most distant solar system object ever seen. The pinkish dwarf planet is more than 100 times farther from the sun than Earth is. What? Wait, hold the front door. Solar system. I read this wrong. This is kind of significant. Okay, I have to retract the things I said before this about this story also being shitty. This is a really fucking... This is crazy. Oh my god. It's an object? It's a planet? It's pink? My mind is freaking blown. Give me just 2 seconds to collect my brain because it just got blown. Give me a second. Set me free. I'm sorry, I won't dance. I know, I'm not allowed dancing. I know, I've been banned from dancing on this show. At least it was over a year ago. I will not dance anymore. Anytime Busy catches me dancing, he's supposed to stop me. Well, you're a little late, mister. I stopped myself. Will you do your job, please? Don't even think about talking into the microphone, Busy. Don't even think about it. Scientists discover far out, the most distant solar system object ever seen, and the most ironically named. What were they thinking? Okay, it's a planet. It could be said, now if Pluto wouldn't have been demoted all those years ago, this would be considered the next planet, y'all. Oh my god, it's a conspiracy. Science wanted to be right. And they knew that this planet was going to be discovered. And they said to themselves, before we allow society to know that we've discovered the newest planet in our solar system, we first have to demote Pluto, because if we don't, we're going to have to make the next planet far out a planet also. And because they didn't want to rewrite the history books, other than to take Pluto away, and because of the news coverage that it would generate, they said to themselves, let's change it, man. That's a conspiracy. If people out there are gonna invent conspiracies like Pizzagate and all those other shitty conspiracies out there, at least I can invent one now, can't I? They get those YouTubers invent conspiracies every freaking day, y'all. All right? This is my invented conspiracy. They demoted Pluto so they wouldn't have to call far out a planet. All right? Now, honestly, in all seriousness, this is pretty major. I thought, when I read this, I thought it was saying that this was the furthest object that we could see with a telescope and confirm what it was. I didn't know it was in our damn solar system. This is nuts. This is nuts, dude. This is gonna go in the damn... This is gonna go in the books. Okay. Astronomers said Monday they had discovered the most distant object ever seen in the solar system, and it's so far away they nicknamed it Far Out, man. Okay, stop it, UNIRock. Known formally as 2018 VG18, the object is the first to be observed at a distance of more than 100 astronomical units from the sun. 1 AU is the distance from Earth to the sun, or about 93 million miles. Now, I've been getting harassed. Even on my main channel, I've been getting harassed. That's right. If you recall, I found several pictures that demonstrated the Earth's curve. I found several videos that demonstrated the Earth's curve. And we've seen more and more flat earthers convert in the recent last few months from flat earthers to globe earthers because they opened their mind and decided to throw away all preconceived notions and study mathematics, trigonometry, and geometry before they made up their mind. And I decided to start tweeting out examples of a globe earth because I can, you know, show you the globe earth like people asked me to. And I can't tell you how many people have come into my live stream and said, oh, Mr. UNIRock, you're so woke, we should call you UNIWoke. Well, if you think the earth is round, prove it. Show us the curve. And I said, okay. And I tweeted out a bunch of pictures showing the curve and a bunch of videos. And it pissed them off. And they are so angry that I put out a new video on my main YouTube channel a few days ago. And it's an excellent video. It's about a gymnast that was born with no legs and no family because she was adopted. And eventually she grows up to be inspired by a gymnast that she saw win the Olympics on television. And she finds out 12 years later that that gymnast is her blood sister. They meet each other and live happily ever after. And it makes a really good video. And it was a good video. It was a great video. But in the comments, somebody was bitching at me about me being a globe earther. Can you believe that shit? Because I haven't posted on the main channel in a while. It's almost like, how much attention do the haters pay to me? They hate me so much. You had to have been watching me last week. You've got to be following me on Twitter if you're going to show up in my comments and say this stuff. I didn't mention anything in this video about the earth. I mean, the earth ain't even there, man. It's not, I mean, what's that have to do with this video, bro? All I know is, man, the flat earthers mad at me. Okay. The reason I said that, you never want to mention the term 93 million to a flat earther. They will fucking go. This instantly triggers a flat earther. 93 million instantly triggers a flat earther. That's just the truth. So far out is 120 AU, 11 billion miles from the sun. So it's 120 times farther than Earth, obviously. If you could drive straight there at a steady 60 miles an hour, you'd be there for 21,000 years. Quote, when I first saw far out and its very slow movement, I immediately knew it was a special object and must be very distant. Scott Shepard, an astronomer at the Carnegie Institute for Science in Washington, D.C., and a member of the team of astronomers who made the discovery, told NBC News Mock in an email. Again, what are with all these really long sentences today? I mean, shit, dude, those blogs I was reading and this is too, that's a long sentence also. Something strange is going on, man. Oh, let's take a look at this. Okay. So here's the Earth. There. Here's the Sun. Jupiter. Saturn. Uranus. Neptune. Pluto. Holy moly. Rama freaking llama ding dang. The what? The Goblin? Now hold the front door. They really did name a far Earth, a outer solar system object, a trans-Neptunian object, the Goblin. I swear to God. What? Trans-Neptunian object, the Goblin. What? How did I miss this? Why is it called the Goblin? I don't know, but we'll find out. Oh my God, the next story is, you guys are gonna flip out over the next story. Anyway, so this is an important discovery. It really is. For it to be that big, considered a dwarf planet, that's big. Big news. Okay. So this is how they found it. It's so crazy that they can find a planet like this. There it is. There's the object in the sky. Holy hell in a handbasket, dude. Can you imagine? These are discovery images of VG 18 from the Subaru telescope. If you want a telescope, drive a Subaru. Okay. On November 10th. No far out moves between the two discovery images while the background stars and galaxies do not move over the 1 hour between images. Okay. So, next up, 11-year-old girl's inoperable brain tumor miraculously vanishes. I told you that I read this off to you in the beginning, and it's just as it sounds. She was sick from a brain tumor. They couldn't operate on it. She goes in for a checkup. Turns out, no tumor. Some people are saying it's a miracle, a literal miracle. Whether you want to believe that or not is up to you. Search out the story and read it for yourself, because I'm not going to read it here. I just wanted to tell you it happened. I thought it was a cool story. So, back in October, I missed this story, and I never miss a science-y story about the planets and astronomy, okay? I don't miss these kind of stories. These are not stories that slide by. What was I doing in October? I'd already debunked QAnon by then, and Backyard Brawl. Oh, that's when I debunked Pizzagate. Okay, that's why I was so busy. I get it. The Goblin is a very small dwarf planet very far away. It might help astronomers in their search for a much bigger world. The long-sought Planet X. And this is in space. Space Magazine, I think. They found Goblin in the far reaches of the solar system. It's a nickname given to the new dwarf planet. They are finding a lot of these damn things. They found it during an intensive search for Planet X, a search these astronomers said was the deepest and most comprehensive survey of its kind so far. So, where is it? So this is the Goblin. My God. Wow, there are well over 400 of those dwarf planets. I didn't know there was that many. I thought there was 8. That shows like how much I have not been keeping up with my astronomy news. Man, just realized I can click on the video versus hitting the back button. Cool stuff. Okay, so a lot of you are gonna say, UNIRock, what's with that story? Are you now a Pizzagate YouTuber? Do you believe in Pizzagate now, Uni? Did they get to you? Did they pay you off? Did those political operatives out there pay you off so that you could help the fight against Hillary Clinton being ever running for president again? Are you going to dabble in misinformation and lie to everybody talking about stories like this? Did they get to you? Who's paying you, UNIRock? Who's paying you? Well, I proved that I'm not in a multi-channel network. Oh my God, I still can't believe that. That had to sting so fucking bad. To those people out there that said I was in a multi-channel network, you did not do your homework, dummy. You probably should have looked to see if I could show whether or not I was in one or not, but you didn't. Anyway, at first glance, this story looks like the kind of story that a zombie would report to you, until you realize it's a comedy story. Not really. Okay, at first I thought this was a joke story, and then I thought about it for a minute. What does this mean? Child abuse climbs after Friday report cards. And I'm like, oh shit, son. Parents whooping their kid's ass for getting bad grades. That's what this is, yeah. So kids are going back to school and being like, Daddy whipped me. And they're like, oh, he whipped you, eh? Okay, well. That's it. That's literally what the hell happened. I'm not joking.
A new study has found a link between child abuse and report cards in one particular day of the week. According to the University of Florida study, child abuse increases the day after report cards are released, but only if they're handed out on Fridays. Researchers found higher rates of confirmed cases of abuse on the following Saturdays. The lead researcher suggests parents may be more likely to inflict abuse on a weekend when it's less likely to be noticed at school the next day. But
you got to be kidding me. That's what they're saying? What? Really? So you're telling me that abusive parents are not triggered by anger, that this is premeditated? When they find out about their kid, and let's say your kid brings home a report card on Tuesday, the parent who gets angry because you've all got 6 Fs and you're not passing any of your classes because you're too busy playing Fortnite and flossing and doing the Carlton. So then they don't beat your ass because they're like, damn it, you've got to go to school tomorrow. I cannot beat your ass. But they're saying that if you take your report card home on Friday, then you're likely to get your ass whooped. Are you serious? Really? Huh. Oh, no, I'm right with you. This is the sole reason that I got good grades. You think I'm joking, right? I'm not. Okay. Well, it's been a very strange stream because I started out telling you the story about how Eddie Bravo is subscribed to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to try to bug Eddie until he watches my show, so I'm going to try to bug Eddie until he comes on my stream. You guys tweet Eddie on Twitter and let him know to come hang with us. I'd love to talk to him about Flat Earth. I know he believes in the Flat Earth. Maybe Eddie will be the guy who does my discussion, because you know I'm going to have a discussion. I'm going to find YouTubers out there who believe in certain conspiracy theories that I don't believe in, and I'm going to have a live stream discussion with them to where the goal is for us to understand each other by the end. Maybe it'll be Eddie Bravo. Yes, I'm talking about Joe Rogan's Eddie Bravo. I showed the screenshot, didn't I? Or if I didn't, I'm so sorry for being a butthead and not showing it to you. Let me click it real quick, bruh. I have to. If I don't click it, then people are going to say, "You're lying. You're a liar. He's not. Your show sucks. Why would Eddie Bravo subscribe to you, UNIRock? You ain't cool like that." And there's the whole thing. He's been watching for a while, y'all. Yeah, I went and checked. That's his channel. Crazy, right? Okay. So we started off this show with me telling you, yeah, no, hey, I'm down. I'm down. Subscribe to PewDiePie, spacebar. I will start telling people to subscribe to PewDiePie in all my shows if you hit subscribe right now and your name pops up over there. Let me see it. I'll hook it up. Okay, so we started this show off talking about how Eddie Bravo watches my show, and I'm going to try to get him in here to talk and do a live stream. And then I moved into telling you this weird theory I have about Elon Musk and why he's digging in LA. But then again, I'm not telling you it's the truth. I'm not telling you it's a fact. I'm just telling you I told you my thoughts and I showed it to you in my show. And that's what I do with all of the shit I show you are just my thoughts and the things I put together throughout the day, right? And then I moved into describing some weird news stories and all that. So it's been a different stream because I didn't break the stream up. And how long have I been streaming? Because I bet I've been streaming for a while now, huh? Oh, I'm only 4 minutes away from the 2-hour mark, which I'm actually very impressed that I actually fucking got this stream done like this. Because it's only 7:30. Normally I don't go live till 9. And when I go offline, it's like midnight. I cannot believe I just freaking slammed out a 2-hour show and it's not even 8 o'clock yet. I cannot believe it. Freaking awesome. Well, hey, you still have to subscribe to me, spacebar. I didn't see your name pop up, spacebar. Now I don't want to have to kick you. If you subscribe to me, I'll make sure to advertise poods for you. Okay. Well, hey, thanks, Ben. Appreciate you guys. Koga, War, Fabric, Unprogrammed, Cat Lady, Wizard, everybody who hangs out during my live show, everyone who's not in the live chat and I can't shout your name out. Oh, you did? Spacebar? And make sure all of you do what Spacebar says. Subscribe to PewDiePie and subscribe to Spacebar. He seems cool. Maybe he's a UNIRocker now too. You could still be a bro fister and a UNIRocker. That's not what it's called. It's not called that. It's called the 9-year-old army. I'm just kidding. I'm a massive PewDiePie fan. I constantly shout out Pewds. And actually, I talked about Pewds in this live stream about how, was it The Verge? Giving him shit, like trying to say just because he's playing a video game. I'm not going to go into it again because I ranted earlier about it and I will rant again if I talk about it. So I'm not. But what I am going to do is I'm going to exit out of this stream in the old-fashioned UNIRock way because we've got some jelly trolls out there, y'all. And they're YouTubers. They got their own crappy content to worry about. Why you hating on me? So there's only one way to combat. You guys know this. We've all known this for a long time. There is only one way to combat those crazy jelly troll YouTubers, and it's by me ending my show like this. I'm UNIRock. Thanks for watching. Make sure you press the subscribe button on both my channels, UNIRocktv and UNIRock2. The join button is right next to the subscribe button. That's right, Georgie paid me to be a YouTuber. That's why they gave me the subscribe button. I mean, the join button. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, it's right next to the subscribe button. Click that sucker. In fact, I want to show it to you. No, it's not enough. It's not enough just to freaking tell you about it. I want to show it to you before I get out of here. You got to click that join button and get access to my awesome emojis. If you do join the channel, Busy, love you long time. I told him already, Busy. I just said it. You'll get your own Busy emojis and your own badge in when you're in the comments, letting people know that you are a UNIRocker extraordinaire. If you really like my show, I got a Patreon. It really helps me do this. You could just pledge $1. If 1,000 of you pledge $1, I'll be rich. And there's a PayPal link below too, and it is that time of the month. If you make a PayPal donation, I'm gonna love you. I will do it. But I'm never gone long. I'm never gone long. Everybody! Because I like you, I love you, I want some more of you, so I'll be back soon. Until I get here, though, you know what I always say. Be nice in the comments, y'all. Those are people on the other side. You should always be kind. Just never be afraid to speak your mind. Microphone. Stare into it. Don't look away. Don't look away. Stare into the MK Ultra microphone. It won't hurt. I swear. I swear. I swear. Haters be jelly, y'all. Dab on the haters. 5,000 G. Peace. Hannah, David, Cat Lady, War, Lone Wolf, He Hate Me, Magog, Essay, Nietzsche, Spacebar, Johnny, Gloria, Sass, Ben Mac, BJ, Koga, Ultra Anon. What's up, bro? We gotta play some PUBG, man. Go-Kart, Go-Kart, Hannah, Industrial Crow. See you guys soon. If you want to get the scoop, I gotta keep you in the loop. Let's just jump right into it. Let's just jump right into it. Love you guys too. See you soon.